I'm specifically talking, before I talk about India, we celebrate 20th anniversary. We have been in India for 20 years, but globally SHRM has been in existence for 77 years in US, headquartered in US Alexandria, Virginia State. And we have maintained our position of a true thought leader for anything to do with work, worker, workplace, but core remain HR. And we are a research-based organization. We support the academia, we support the professionals in their professional journey, and we support the top leaders in their leadership journey. So from academia to professionals to top leaders, and we also support the respective governments in their countries on how to shape their policies to industry's growth. So that is holistic SHRM. We have a 340,000 members in 183 countries. With that capacity, we influence around 350 million professionals globally. So that is the power of SHRM. That is the organization we represent, 77-year-old globally and 20 years of presence in India. So we are truly committed to India as a country.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay. Tell me one thing in the last decade or so, how the role of HR has changed with technology coming in. Now we are talking about AI and all these things. Earlier, people used to think HR as a support system kind of thing. How things have changed over the last decade or so, according to you guys?
So role of HR, that is why SHRM exists, because when you go to a CEO and you ask a question, and my boss, Johnny, has done interviews of top Fortune 500 companies CEO, and when you ask him a question, what keeps you up at night? And he or she would always say, it is my people. Hiring, developing, and retaining talent is HR's responsibility. Right and left hand, I have done work for GE. Jack Welch, who was a well-known CEO globally, and you ask any CEO, the biggest challenge, finance is available, with private equity funds available. Technology is changing day by day. But the biggest challenge any organization is facing is their people. And who manages people? It is HR. So the most, and specifically after COVID, now more than ever, the most evolved function is HR, or you can call in another way, people managers. So I would say that's the not only most important function, it is the most relevant function for a company. And the role has changed and evolved. It has become more important, relevant, and close to the CEOs and the business. It doesn't need seat on the table. It is there driving the business. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, that makes sense. Ma'am, I just want to know how AI has influenced or changed your role in the last maybe 2-3 years. How things have changed?
Okay, so I will answer. Of course, my colleague Shakun will be able to answer better, but I would just say SHRM did a research with Microsoft, and we do this research because everybody says AI is changing this. AI is not only in HR, but finance and all functions have evolved with. AI is just an enabler to do your job better. And we have done research in partnership with Microsoft. An outcome of research was AI plus HI. Artificial intelligence plus human intellect will give more return on investment to the organization. But I'll hand it over to Shakun to talk how AI has changed the role of HR. It is an enabling function. It will help HR to do their job better. But HR will still remain an important function. Over to you, Shakun.
Sure. Thanks, Achal. I think you ask a very interesting question in terms of how it has evolved over 10 years and specifically what is the impact of AI. So if you look at a few years ago, let's say about 7, 8 years ago or even 10 years ago, HR was all about record keeping and compliances. That's where it started from. So even the software and technology was all meant to have records of employees and do processes. Then came the automation and then came the era of SaaS business, right? And that's where the focus shifted from record keeping to enablement and experience. How can you upskill employees? How can you enable them? And how can you create a better experience? And we saw that peaking of that during 2020 COVID, because you had to create a very different experience. How do you enable people from work from home and other locations? So that was the next 5, 6 years, the whole focus was on employee experience. Now, as Achal said, it has completely shifted. In fact, HR has become probably the single most important function today, because now it is about defining how the organization will work. It is for the first time in the history that organizations have a choice whether to get a human being to work or get a bot or an AI to work. And today morning you saw some very interesting demos and what future possibilities are. So today HR's function is very, very strategic. It is defining how the strategy of the business will get defined as well as executed. Because it is for the first time that HI plus AI that Achal talked about is creating competitive advantage for a company. So going forward, we see that AI will not just remain as a competitive edge or advantage. It will not only be a choice but a compulsion. And when every organization embraces AI, the differentiation will again come back to humans, right? So everybody is using AI. Who's using it better? Who has better human element? And that's where a company like SHRM, an organization like SHRM, is doing path-breaking work, because today we are not only helping organizations develop AI capabilities in terms of enabling their people and helping them understand, we are also helping them define the AI policies. How do you embrace that AI? What should be the policy framework? And also getting into designing the technical ecosystem that they will need to be able to embrace AI. So it's a complete shift, and I think no other function has seen the kind of transformation that HR has seen.
So inside the HR function, which is the particular sub-function that is seeing the most investments as far as AI is concerned? Is it recruiting? Is it L&D or?
So it's interesting you asked that, because we did a research study to figure out what is happening. 3 functions are at the top. If you look at top 3, needless to say, recruitment is number 1. At number 1, it is recruitment. Number 2, it's learning and development. And number 3 is performance management. And while I am saying that, it is also interesting and important for us to understand that AI adoption within HR is far more higher across Asia Pacific in India than any other part. And that's an interesting trend that we are seeing. So we feel that India is going to create a lot of innovation in HR and specifically the application of AI in HR in next few years.
So is it that companies are only at the POC stage now, or are the...
No. So POC stage got over, I would say, about 18 to 12 months ago. Most of the organizations started doing that. Remember, the big shift happened in 2023 when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, and then a series of other things happened. So most of the POCs are over. About 63% companies, as per our research, show that they now have some live application of AI. Of course, there are different stages of it, but most of the POCs are done. Now it is getting into a stage where, from a piecemeal POC, they are now talking about how do they create an end-to-end AI-enabled ecosystem where the whole experience would be seamless, such that you would know what part of the process humans did, what part of the process AI did, and everything is going to be completely seamless.
Have they actually started seeing the ROI from their investments already?
In piecemeals, some of them have, but as I said, most of it is in the design phase now, or implementation phase. I think we are about a year or so before we see concrete results at an enterprise level. But if you look at a functional level, there are so many examples.
So what about agentic AI? As in, are companies also adopting agentic AI, or it's just at the chatbot stage?
Agentic AI has really picked up very well. In fact, there are certain functions, specifically if you look at recruitment or employee self-service, a lot of work has already gone to agentic AI. And I would say the POCs are far more successful and now transactions are happening. This is initial stage, and I think in the next 18 to 24 months, you will see a large part of operational HR, as high as about 60% of operational HR will go to agents. Having said that, it's important to understand that why I say 60%, because as it will stabilize, we will realize that human intellect or human intelligence is so very important that you have to, theoretically speaking, you can put 100% work to them, but practically it will not work.
Any examples of how companies are using agentic AI without taking the name of the company, a particular company using agentic AI or AI at a larger level in a massive way?
So if you look at, by the way, you have a room full of exhibitors who are talking about, and a lot of them are working with agentic AI. I can give many examples, but very quickly, if you look at, for example, candidate matching, a lot of it has happened. As I said, number one use of AI in India is in recruitment. So if you look at candidate sourcing, interview scheduling, and even to an extent assessments, and we have at SHRM developed our own assessment platform as well, which is heavily AI enabled. A significant part of that work is now already being done by agentic AI.
Okay, as far as data sets are concerned, very important, because hiring in India is fundamentally different from how it's done abroad. So you need external data sets. If the company has their own data sets, nothing like that. But as far as for the training of the AI models is concerned, are companies getting enough data sets so that whatever investments that they do in AI, the way they are using the tools, they are getting the best returns?
I would say yes and no. Companies which are successful have that mature data set. And also remember that in the last about 8-10 years, during the SaaS transformation, majority of the data sets got integrated. So every organization will have a ATS, which will have a data. All of them are now connected to job boards, that is there. So it's a fundamental foundation, right? So organizations which have clean and very, very reliable data are far more ahead in their ability to embrace agentic AI. Where it is not, they are struggling and they'll keep on struggling.
Okay, what kind of particular AI tools are being adopted the most compared to others? Because there are some low-hanging fruits. So,
see, right now what is happening is point solutions are happening. So I'll tell you, and this is something that we did a research and we found out. HR as a function has 16 sub-functions. Under those 16 sub-functions, there are 72 nano-functions. So if you look at it, the whole usage of AI and agentic AI is now happening bottom-up. So out of those 72 functions, people are picking up one. So for example, background verification, if you look at it, candidate matching, if you look at it, we talked about assessments. In fact, as SHRM, we've also developed a tool to help people develop themselves, from a learning and development perspective. How can you use AI as a coach, as a mentor, right? How can it handhold you to a development journey? All that is pretty much there. So as I said, right now the application is happening at the nano functions or the sub-function level, and it's just a matter of time when everything gets combined and there is a seamless, complete experience.
Any interesting examples wherein companies are using AI in a any different way, given the nature of operation that the company is in? Any interesting use case that you have come across on the basis of your interactions with the company?
Can we also request any other questions from others so that we can cover the entire house?
And
sorry.
after this
we can absolutely get into
I'll
one-to-one discussion as well. Yes, please go. Yeah. I think you can answer that.
I couldn't get your question, to be very honest. Can you repeat? Because I couldn't hear you. Yours. Okay, so Yeah, so what SHRM does is, of course, AI is very, very important, but how about SHRM, as I said, SHRM works with academia a lot. So giving them the right curriculum and giving the right facilitation slides to the teachers, how that curriculum is taught. So that is the beginning, so that they are employable, you know. So that is the beginning of it. Then for the professionals who are early practitioners, our certification is of gold standard. So they are better employed, means once they are employed, they can get better jobs, you know, like in some of the consulting firms would always say that for consulting work, we need SHRM certified professionals. So we hold them once they pass out. They would be around 5,000, more than 5,000 schools and colleges to whom we give them, their curriculum is aligned as per the SHRM curriculum, as per the global standard. So we look at their curriculum and we give them the right curriculum and we align it as per the global standard. So we not only give the right curriculum, felicitation slides, but we also give them right content when they are in their journey so that they are employable. So we support them throughout their journey in their growth. We also did a research with the CHROs what kind of skills they need to hire right. In India specifically, I'm talking about, we worked with NSDC and various industry segments. What are the important skills required for the specific, whether it is GCC, whether it is pharma, whether it is IT, ITS skills, and then those skills need to be taught by the colleges and embedded into the curriculum. So this is a little role which SHRM has, not little, very important role in partnership with NSDC we have played, and there is a specific research skilling report which is available, you know, which is specific to the industry. We shared it and we would be happy to share it with you. That is how, that will help in employment for the country.
And one more data point of that research is, if there's going to 90 million jobs that are going to go away because of AI, 117 million jobs will be created. We are right now in a transition stage. While people are adopting and understanding AI, ultimately it would lead to many more jobs.
Yeah.
That's all.
So our information is all research based, and we have done a lot of research which are totally India specific. Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
My topic is very different here. We are in the globalization stage, and I was seeing that you guys work at APAC and MENA level. And you talked about employee experience. So, sir, can you tell me, any of you, as a global employee, how are you helping? If I am a global employee, I work for 3 different countries. How is my experience throughout the cultural change, and how AI as an ecosystem enhancing my experience to empower me, who has been working in India, to adapt to maybe Netherlands or Middle East, and how quick is the transition?
Achal, can I answer this?
Yes, please.
So, I don't know if you know about the global SHRM, we are ultimately a membership-driven organization. As Achal mentioned, there are more than 340,000 members across the globe with SHRM. Now, as a member, what you get is a regular update on various best practices across different countries. Now, as you rightly said that, you know, you can be based out of APAC and you want to be adopted to the Netherlands best practices. So we do capture a lot of data points, research points, best practices on talent, and the membership newsletter and a lot of such information through our research is disseminated globally. So whether you're sitting in MENA, APAC, India, or the US, you would have the same level of information across different countries, and that's one of the best ways to do so. And then as Achal mentioned about the certification, once you go for a SHRM certification, the curriculum also ensures that, you know, you're a global HR professional rather than limited to any particular country.
And I would also answer,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
when we talk about, we are an individual membership organization. One is enterprise, for us individual matters. And when you are a member, like LinkedIn connections are there is a SHRM Connect. So you are connected to 340,000 members. So you can choose, if you want to go to Netherlands, you can see where is the Netherlands membership base. You can connect with them through SHRM Connect. And you can build your own network. That is the best way to connect.
Local
I just want
chapters.
to add one thing. India always has a competitive advantage in terms of the way you work, the way the companies operate, the multidimensional aspect that is entitled to the company. And we are a diverse workforce and we do multitasking. Some of the companies are very specific to specific job roles. So India always will have a competitive advantage when you go out of India, or any Indians coming out of different geographies and coming back to India for work. So that is I would say the global workforce is always liked whenever the Indians go and work outside, or when the Indians return back to the country.
So one more follow-up.
Sure.
It's especially for you, sir. When we say AI,
For me?
AI.
Yes.
Yes.
because I was very curious, when we say AI experience, I may be an employee working in TCS and I have a specific task. You say that, okay, I will enable my employee to achieve different levels. So can AI play a role in all the RSUs and operations? You talked about operations, helping me navigate the taxation. I just say, hey Siri, tell me what am I supposed to do. It will be an AI co-worker, means like a personal assistant in my career growth. Is that
Yes,
some-
the answer is yes. And earlier I talked about, look, SHRM is one of the largest HR advisory firms and capability firms in this part of the world. We have, using AI, for example, developed certain models and certain tools where exactly what you are saying can happen. Actually, if you look at it, and allow me a moment, it's a longish answer, but see, you talked about, hey Siri, can you tell it to me? Yes, it can, right? More than Siri, the right answer would be a ChatGPT or a Gemini, because Siri was mentioned for a different purpose. Now, what happens is that is very, very generic, right? That's a very generic answer. So you don't want a generic answer. You want a very specific answer that is from within my policy framework, from within. For a very large airline, for example, we have developed a tool where we have trained multiple of their managers on certain aspects of how do you do things, right? How do you manage that? Now, when that manager goes really on his or her job floor and he or she faces a challenge, a Google or a Siri will answer in a very generic manner. Our technology allows it to actually, the way, if I'm that manager and I ask the same question to that tool that time, it will say, by the way, when you attended the training, this is what you were taught. And this is how you use it in this scenario. All this is happening in natural language. So imagine that when we are enabling, we are not just enabling people with skill or a tool, we are actually giving them a companion who's always there. Now, this can be implemented in case of a cross-cultural thing also. Say, for example, I'm in Netherlands, I was given a training, I was given a manual, but how do I remember everything? I'm attending a conference like this. So I'm having a bot and I'm talking to it. Should I shake hands or should I give them a hug? How personal should I get with them? What does this food mean, right? How should I have a small talk, and so on and so forth. So everything is pretty much possible and it is done today. I'm very proud to say that at SHRM we have developed multiple tools for multiple organizations. We are not a technology company, so we are not in the business of tools. But when we are doing advisory, today we give advisory through our content and membership, as they talked about, through our experiences of these conferences, through our SME network, which are real human people who work as coaches, and now the additional layer of AI as well.
Surajit, do you also want to brief everyone on the overall people engagement business for a while, so that they can?
So I think one of this very important question that Gaurav mentioned over here, the people engagement business is a subset within the overall SHRM ecosystem. While we interact with the HR heads, the HR leaders, and also the thought leaders, we always believe that the ecosystem players should come together for meaningful business opportunities. While we don't create opportunities, but we believe that the buyers and the sellers should meet in an infrastructure like this. They should thrive on content. So there are four important pillars which we believe are part of the people engagement business at SHRM. One is the right kind of people should be reached out for the right kind of a content. They should learn what is happening in the industry. The HR tech players should meet the right kind of people who are decision makers to implement technologies in their own organization. And as HR as a function is evolving, we are just a catalyst to enable that opportunity between the companies and the receivers, I would say. And while we are not an event management company, but this is one of the important pillars as part of our mandate that we create these opportunities in form of flagship events like this, where we have expo, we have thought leadership, we have small cohorts of people meeting together and understanding the requirement of the industry. At the same time, we keep the entire industry engaged throughout the year in different opportunities, in different geographies, whether it is India, MENA or APAC, to understand what are the business criticalities and requirement of the players in the industry, and at the same time, how our content, which is research-based, can help those players to understand what are the dynamics of the industry.
And we are trending today, we are trending at number 1. So you will know that how important this conference is with 2,500 people who are attending it. They are really liking the content because it is not just general conference, it is content, and that is what they are absorbing.
Absolutely.
Any questions coming? Yeah, please.
Skills are transferable. So can you please specify 5 top skills after 5 years, and after 5 years, which are the skills that is going to obsolete?
Listen, and right now I can't say because what is going to happen.
We can't say that one.
I'm not going, I don't know what is going to happen with the technology and all. I would say it is very important to be relevant, the way the dynamics are changing. That is more important. Learn, unlearn as soon as you can, according to the times. 5 years, मेरे को ये नहीं पता 2 दिन के बाद क्या होने वाला सर. So we need to be relevant.
So ma'am, tell us a little bit about what are the trends which are going to emerge in the next few years, according to you guys, in the HR field, new trends.
I would, Shakun, can you throw light on
Sure.
that? Trends?
I think there will be 4 trends.
Yeah.
Largely. The first and foremost trend would be the roles will move from roles to skills.
Yeah, that is what.
So that means that I will not be a sales manager. I will now be a person who's a negotiator, who's a connector, who's a product specialist, and so on and so forth. So the roles will go away and skills will come. That is point number 1. The other thing,
That will require upskilling and reskilling.
Absolutely.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the second thing would be the life of the skills would become too short. Today you learn something, then it is
Yeah.
not that you will
get obsolete.
It will
That's
be-
what
it
I
will get
said.
very obsolete, and that's what she
Reskilling
said.
will also
Yeah.
play.
Reskill will
Okay.
become very important, and therefore to your earlier question, the only skill which I can guarantee will be very relevant till 5 years and more is the ability to learn.
No.
You just need to have the ability to learn anything very quickly, right? So that. The third piece would be that the work will become more flexible and gig oriented. So rather than having a lot of people having full-time roles and long-term careers, it will be very quick. I might be doing 3 things for 3 different organizations. And fourthly, businesses will increasingly embrace AI as humans side by side. Which means today when we are having this, we will not know seamlessly which part of this work AI will do and which part. So it will be like Gaurav is sitting here, Arjun X could be sitting next to me next time, right? And those are the 4 things that are most likely to happen.
Which is happening actually if you look
So
at
much
it. Means we
happening.
can't survive without our phones. So that is kind of AI only. We are always, for every small thing we will look at it, okay, let's ask Google. So we are dependent on ChatGPT, Google or Gemini, whatever it is. So,
And one trend that will be trending is skills versus degree. Skills versus degree. Whether degrees are important or the skill sets are important. In today's workspace, everybody is looking forward to have a set of people who are skill-based rather than degree-based. Okay? And you have to adapt to nuances of the business, AI, and you have to embrace AI the way it is operating, but nothing can beat the empathy level and the kind of work culture we have in India. But most importantly, the thing that will change the entire workspace is that how quickly you can learn, how quickly you can learn, and how quickly you can deliver the business.
Yes, Kanika. Shall we?
I wanted you
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about the reports we are launching.
Achha. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
reports are we launching?
Because we have
Yes.
the very time short,
Very
so
quickly, yeah.
just quickly if you can.
Okay,
yeah.
so there are two reports which we are launching today and tomorrow. One is SHRM India Skill Report. We are calling it a SHRM India Skill Intelligence Report. There is a survey that has been done across all the HR professionals in India, across all levels, right from the junior to senior most. And we are covering a whole lot of AI-related questions, skill-related questions, talent, acquisition. Do get a copy of, Kanika, I would request that everyone should take a copy of it. We have print copies for all of you. That should give you a lot of information and should answer a lot of your questions. Second report which we are launching is, which is actually an annual feature, SHRM India Top 25 HR Influencers. So that also tells you that who are the top 25 HR leaders in the country today who are driving the HR function and are very collaboratively working with SHRM India to drive different research as well as different training programs. So do get a copy of that. Kanika, we'll request, yeah. Any other question, please feel free. Yeah, last question, please, yes.
What are the biggest technology investments that Indian companies are making in HR today, and where are they seeing the strongest return of investments?
I think, Shakun, do you want to
Shakun.
answer? Because
This is
it's
very
again
Look, very
AI.
quickly, it's
Yeah,
in a single word, it is a
Yeah.
word AI. Most of the companies have very robust HR platforms and HR system. A lot of them are upgrading because if they are, outdated. But largely in AI, and as I said, in three fields, largely in recruitment, learning and development, and performance management.
I'll
One-
also,
Sorry, no, you go ahead.
I'll also request that please do visit the expo.
Yeah.
You have almost 90 plus, or I would say, Surajit, 100
No, I
plus
think we
maybe?
have
102.
18 companies participating, but the major highlight for this year's conference is we have a lot of startups who have joined us. They are
And
the
Techathon,
evolved-
talk about the Techathon.
And also we created an opportunity which is called Techathon.
Yes.
Techathon was an opportunity for industry mid-size HR players and allied functions to participate and create their own identity to solve a problem which is existing in their own organization, or they can come up with their own hypothetical problem that can solve the purpose and bridging the gap between humans and AI. So over 100 teams participated in the initial round. Through a set of experts and jury members, we shortlisted 75 companies, organizations. They are the team size of 2 to 3 people. The 30 top teams are invited here to present it to the jury members, and top 3 in different categories will be felicitated tomorrow at the concluding session of the conference. So that's a new addition for the conference.
I would say you are invited for the board day of the conference. This afternoon, what we are doing, means as you asked a question, how important is HR and how important HR is in India. T.V. Rao, who is the father of HR, we call him oldest professor of IIM Ahmedabad. He's coming today. Now, there are 30 stalwarts of HR who have created the industry in India and been working for almost 40 years or 45 years. And we as SHRM, we believe in collaboration. We never believe in competition. We are invited. There is a book called Leadership in Making, and it is all about HR. And we have bought that book, and we are recognizing all those 30 leaders which are the stalwarts of HR for India as a country. And those HR leaders, we will be recognizing them. What is the time?
We are doing it at 2:30, immediately after lunch.
I would love you to stay back here, have lunch, means not here, we have organized lunch for you outside.
Kanika.
Yeah, Kanika will take care of it. And there's a small token of appreciation. We really welcome you. You should come to SHRM conference every time. This is your own event. And please stay back and do a post of those stalwarts who will be there on the stage, because they have created because HR in India is much more advanced than any other country, and I'm proud to say that. And those stalwarts have created it, and some of them will be there, because some of them, most of them are still alive, but some of them are out of country and all, but they are so proud that they are going to be on SHRM stage. So that is the momentous moment for all of us.
That's the power
Thank
of
you.
SHRM, I would say.
That is the power of SHRM that we are able to get there.
And
Yeah.
Kanika, let's put that in the press release also, and we do share it with everybody.
Yeah. So thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, please don't go without eating lunch. Kanika, please make sure that they all eat lunch, and we will give you the copy of the reports. Yes.
Sure.